Hello, all, and welcome back to a new episode of TV and Us, a conversation show about the TV series we just can't stop talking about. My name is Jennifer Hahn.
And I'm Sarah Callan.
And each season we focus on a different show, reviewing it episode by episode, and we invite you to watch along with us. Right now, we're reviewing The Sopranos Season 2, and today we are going to be discussing Episode 6, titled The Happy Wanderer. And our good friend Philip, which you heard 2 episodes ago, was like, gosh, Episode 6, y'all, is going to be good. It's going to be juicy. So we had to have Philip back. Philip, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I almost caught myself. Deeply unprofessional. I almost said, and I'm Philip after Sarah. Sorry to insinuate myself here into your wonderful show. No, Jen, we've talked on Movies and Us and TV and Us, like our camaraderie around like crime families. So I'm very glad that this is like not just a one-off, but like a long-term project of yours. And being a listener and an occasional contributor is a delight.
Oh, we love it. We love it. Philip is also the origin, the brainchild of the idea that we had that you've seen on our feed now twice around doing watch-alongs, because so much happens in one episode of the show that there's so much to react to constantly. So that has been so fun, and shout out to Philip for the amazing idea. But this is a juicy episode. Go watch the episode. This is your spoiler alert. We really don't, I think any episode of this show, you need to go in fully blind if you haven't seen the show yet. It's been out for so many years, but by gosh, don't listen to the rest of our conversation until you go watch the episode and come back and listen to our review or discussion about it. Sarah, do you want to kick us off with a summary for episode 6?
Sure. Tony runs a high-stakes card game while an old friend's gambling compulsion threatens business and family ties.
Yeah, the feeble family ties between some of these folks. I'm still impressed it's still intact, to be honest, for all, like, for appearances at the moment.
It also very interestingly strengthens them in some ways too, though.
Yes, indeed. So episode titles, let's roundtable them. Philip, what is yours for episode 6?
I like this when TV episodes do this. They sometimes like tongue-in-cheekly sort of like use titles from other things that we all know about to like allude to something. So for this one, I went with The Most Dangerous Game.
Nice. Love it. Sarah, what is your episode title?
Mine is Through the Grapevine.
And my episode title is Casino Royale.
Nice.
Well played.
Okay, let's dive in. This is a tense, high-stakes episode, and tensions continue to boil, and I wouldn't even call them a simmer at this point. I think they're just like at a fever pitch. Philip, I'm curious to hear your thoughts about episode 6, especially kind of experiencing the show and getting to watch, and this being one of the big episodes of the season for you.
Yeah, I think this is a key episode this season, and I thought it was also very interesting based on what you just said, which I agree with, how everything is at such a boiling point in various ways. This episode is also bookended. The first and the last scene relate to kids getting into college also. Like they do such a good job of like stakes and different worlds getting balanced, and that's why it's the best show ever made.
It's so unassuming when it begins, you know? Just a dad.
Parents' Day, like, yeah. How many of us, like, either if we have kids, like, like you go to your kid's school, or like if we, like when we were in high school, like our parents going to like career fairs with us or whatever, like that's extremely relatable.
Yeah.
And Tony, Artie, and Davey being guys who grew up together and knew each other from school, like now it's their kids' turn to go for school. Like it starts off very familiarly and safely.
It's very sweet until it gets spicy. Yeah. The history between the two of them is so felt throughout this episode, which I think is really interesting as well. Tony even says in the scene where he goes over to go figure out how to collect his payment from Davey, like, I'm not that kid anymore.
Not the kid from the school bus anymore.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. He really feels
big old mountain of a man standing over him in his little dinky office chair. And he's like, Tony, come on, like our kids.
Yeah. Sarah, what are your thoughts about episode 6?
Yeah, there's so much that's so great about this episode, and one thing that I really love that The Sopranos is doing is it introduces us to a character at the right time and in a way that we can like build empathy with them and an understanding about them even though we just met them. So I feel like we do that with Davy in this episode. You know, he kind of comes out of nowhere, but we learn what we need to learn about him so that we can go on this journey with him and know the danger that he's in
Mm.
immediately, and want better for him. And as he's going down this path, just going, nope, don't do it, my guy. This is not the move. So I love the efficiency of The Sopranos to use a character like this to get us invested in him so quickly, so easily, and then we're watching him navigate through this world that he really has no business being in.
And it's so masterful because, I mean, we'll talk about probably several things. He's one of many characters that have important moments. And like you
Mm.
said, first time we see him, but he's in so many scenes and just like the brilliant way it builds. Because at the beginning, like kid trying to get into college, super relatable. They go into the bathroom, they're busting each other's balls. Tony drops a thing like, "Oh, like I thought you'd be at the racetrack." Like, okay, like
Mm.
see the gambling problem. Then we see him at Richie's game, and then we see him at the big game, and it's so efficient. Like it doesn't feel like whoa, 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 this came out of nowhere. Like it's the writing is incredible.
And like you mentioned, there's clues every step of the way that we have suspicions and then they're confirmed. And it's satisfying for us as the viewers to see, like, ah, we knew it. And then the stakes continue to kind of like fall open beneath him, which is that no, he's continuing to go farther to make his money back somehow or to like prove himself again in some way that he just continually entering dangerous territory, but he doesn't dive fully in. He kind of like slowly tiptoes his way into the deep dark forest that he finds himself in by the end of the episode.
Indeed.
Yikes. Yikes. I think it's really fascinating seeing Artie so prominently in this episode.
My
Um,
guy. I love that man.
yeah. He's a character that we know familiarly from season 1, but he's kind of been absent for most of season 2 so far. But he comes back at such a pivotal time for the episode about Davy because the show's not just about people that are in the system that they've created for themselves, but it's also about how everyone else in the orbit needs to be smart enough to know how to navigate with or exist in the world that the system, the mafia families, are running. And Artie is an interesting example because he's constantly teetering on the edge. Like he kind of respects the system enough, but not all the time. I really worry for him all the time, every scene that he's in. But he's such
My
an
sweet
interesting
boy Artie, yes.
contrast. Yeah, he's
Protect
such
him
an
at all
interesting contrast.
costs.
I've he's
Maybe
so
that could be a shirt.
kind-hearted, you know? Like when Davy comes to him asking for money, I was like, oh no, Artie, don't do
Because
it.
Artie was at the low stakes Richie game and he won big. He like
Yeah,
won big in a small game. And
yeah.
then Davey
Needed to get
later,
up.
like there's so much intertwined. It's so good. But
Yeah.
what you said, Jen, just looking back on it, because I'm in the middle of my season 3 rewatch. So like my full watch of season 2 wasn't
Okay.
terribly long ago. But then zoning in on this episode, I watched it twice. Like one of the things, it can be annoying to just say perhaps, but like The Sopranos is about a lot of things, but like I always say, like it's about America. And what you
Yeah.
said about like the systems and like the corruption and the people trying to like the people who are at the top gaming this like rigging the system,
Mm.
and then they're the people who are like trying to get advantages. Like you have to live in this world. Like I think Artie is such an incredible character because like through most of the show, he's like 80+% like in
Yeah.
the just the strict like good category. But like he also is a person who lives in this world. Tony is his friend as much as Tony can have friends and be a friend. Like, and it's just so interesting to see him relate to all these things. And then you have Davey, like the people who the system preys upon, which is but he also chooses it himself because he wants to get up in the system. Like that's America.
Mm.
I also love that conversation between Artie and Davy because Artie knows. He's like, I'm
He's like, "Why
not
don't you file
touching
for
that."
bankruptcy?"
Yeah. And then Davy reveals that it's Tony,
He's
and
like, "Yeah, I
Artie's
don't think
like,
Tony's gonna, accept
"No."
that." He's like, "Oh, Davy," like
Right? It's a hard nope.
and
So
he's like, "Part of what I need is 20 G's for Tony," and just Artie's like, "I know what's gonna happen to this guy."
Yep.
Like
So I
Mhm.
love that about Artie, that he knows his place in this world and this system, like, well enough to stay in that spot. Like, he knows Tony will come and ask him for a favor, and so then he can do that favor. But if
and
somebody
Bill
like
Goodwill, like,
Davy.
he's at the game. He's at
Yeah,
Johnny's or, not Johnny, he's at Richie's game.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, but he knows, "Don't go up against Tony,
This
though."
is
That is a
my
clear
this is my
no.
ceiling.
Yes.
Like, he knows where his limits are
Yep.
through the vast majority of the show.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and he learned the hard way from season 1, getting his getting his restaurant blown up, and him kind of underestimating Tony's power in season 1, and him finally like knowing how to like properly show the difference. Because he in season 1, I honestly was like, homeboy is being like, thank God he has Charmaine, because
Comes at him
Charmaine
in
sees it
a parking lot
clearly.
with a rifle. You're like, "Oh, guy, this he's
You
gonna be like
can't,
he's gonna have like a 3-episode arc."
right? I thought he was gonna get taken out, but like he's smart enough to now to know how to defer and to keep his head down low and
And be
whatnot,
of
but he
value,
had to
not
learn
like
that the hard way.
and be of value in a way to where, like, he gains favor, but it's so interesting because part of it is maybe some, like, subconscious strategy, but also because he's a good guy who cares about his friend, even though his friend's, like, a sociopathic like,
Wow.
Tony can turn that sociopath, switch on pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah. And I think an interesting like inflection point in this episode that is kind of teed up from the previous episode is we get Tony and Dr. Melfi back together again in the office. I'm curious y'all's thoughts on um, they've been apart from each other for a whole 5-6 episodes by this point, and um, we're getting to hear Tony speak more honestly, I think, than the past 5 episodes, which I think I didn't realize how much I missed that until I got it in this episode of how he's able to share his emotional truths in a way that we just didn't have the opportunity to get because he's
'Cause
not going to see Dr. Melfi.
and
Yeah,
that's the
thoughts
only
about
place he can do that.
yeah, thoughts about that reunion of sorts between the two of them. Sarah hates that whole plot line. She's
I
just like,
really do. It
Oh,
makes for some
okay.
really
Go
great
on.
TV, but I'm just like, "Dr. Melfi, what are you doing, my girl? This is not the move."
nope.
Well, Dr. Melfi, in some ways, I feel like is not terribly different than Artie. Like, she has an affinity
Interesting.
for him, and I understand it. Like, I don't think it's romantic or sexual, and if it is, it's like negligible. Like, she sees a fellow Italian American who's having a hard time and wants to help in a way. And like, she believes in her process to make people better and not and forgive me, this is a very basic idea, so this is not a spoiler, like, I forget where they talk about it, season 1, 2, or 3, about, like, somebody chastising Dr. Melfi probably, along Sarah's line of thinking, going like, "What, are you just trying to make him, like, a better gangster, like, a more efficient and, like, crafty gangster?" And she's like, "No, like, she wants to make him a better person." And
Yeah.
we'll see if that happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or how long
She's
it
got this,
sticks.
yeah, maternal like protective instinct, and I think it's particularly interesting this conversation that they have in this episode for their session, because in season 1 she's way more just like client patient doctor patient dynamic, like she's really putting him first. But Tony's, there's a whole point where he's talking about himself and his feelings, and she brings it back to herself. She's like, but then why were you
Oh,
yelling at me? And
interesting.
it's like, but Dr.
Well,
Melfi.
okay, I definitely wanna talk about that, and I thought it's
Yeah.
interesting in the chronology of events, like, she fired him as a patient, and then,
Hmm.
like, she was having nightmares about, like, we started a healing journey, whatever that means for Tony somebody like Tony Soprano, and then we stopped, and, like, she now feels bought into that and, like,
Hmm.
culpable in some ways, and Maybe some ways that's accurate, maybe some ways it's not, it's what makes for the interesting drama.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll say, nobody judge me too harshly. Like, in some ways, I related so hard to Tony in that
Mm.
session. Like,
Yeah.
there are a handful of people, not very many. There's like two or three people who sometimes, like, when you have like real heart to hearts, like, I
Mm.
know what that's like growing up in like both in an immigrant family and in a religious family where you don't know how to deal with things. I'm just angry. Like, I'm angry, and I like. And she says, like, what? He's like, I'd like to smash your face. He's like, not actually. Like, just he says something like, I wrote
Yeah.
that one down. He said, that's just a way of describing how I'm feeling. Which is interesting because, like, I know what he means. Also, that's also objectively a little horrific. So, uh,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't know. And she's like, man, I want to hopefully help this guy get the tools so that the people who are beneath him, maybe like her friends and neighbors, like Davy,
Mm.
she probably doesn't know Davy, but like her friends and neighbors being on Tony's bad side, like, I think it is admirable that she's like, I want to give Tony the tools so that
Mm.
the flying off the handle and the unresourceful outbursts hurt less people.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's something that's so fascinating about The Sopranos and the way that Tony Soprano's character is constructed, because I think he is so relatable to every human being that has felt like they don't belong. They're trying to prove themselves. They're desperately trying to hold their life together and they can't. Like, there's an honesty that he brings that I think is cathartic for us as viewers to watch someone say the things or express the things that perhaps we feel like we can't. And to see Tony be able to in his twisted ways, his unhealthy ways, but still ultimately like be able to share and express those things with such clarity is like really quite impressive. Like that whole sequence at our watch along,
Yeah,
I
the
was
happy wanderer. Like, he both hates the happy wanderer and wants to beat him to a pulp,
be
but
them.
also
Yeah.
kind of wishes he was the happy wanderer.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
know what that's like sometimes.
Yeah.
I feel like we
Exactly.
all do in some ways.
It's so emotionally honest, which is really satisfying for us to watch. And then we just can't help but like root for this guy that we see ourselves in some way.
And James Gandolfini is great just in the show. But man, in this episode, there's so many moments where he's
Yeah.
doing these really like subtle things or these small things that I think make his performance in this episode really really special. So just shout out to him for bringing all of those things and all of those emotions and showing us those different parts of Tony, both the empathetic side and the horrifying side, and they all are inhabited within this person. And yeah, James Gandolfini just kills it in this episode.
Yeah, he does. Like, just in this one episode, I couldn't agree more, Sarah. He is like five different things. He's
Mm-hmm.
like that confused. Well, he's the parent trying to help his kid. He's the frustrated guy who knows he has a problem but doesn't know
Yeah.
how to fix it. He's the rising leader who is knows that, like, it's his time to kind of take leadership and is doing it. He's not quite tentative, but like he's not secure in his leadership role yet.
Mm-hmm.
He's the bulldog with Richie or with Davy, and then he's also kind of like the little boy after the game is over. Like, I don't want to get into that scene, but like on this
Yeah.
particular watch, like that scene where he's like, "Ah, we got the executive game, guys." Like, he's that little boy with the cereal again. It's like, I just want to give this guy a hug.
That scene tugged on my heartstrings so much to see him with his crew that have been together for 2, 3 decades,
He and
and them
Silver
just
Kid,
being
he's like,
like,
yeah, remember we used to
"We made it."
like Uncle Junior used to like chase us out of here because we were like, ooh, what are they doing in there? The high rollers.
Yeah, yeah. There's this feeling of like, "Oh my gosh, guys, we made it." But there's a little bit of emptiness in there too. It kind of feels like,
But you make it
man.
because you're exploiting your
Yeah,
other people.
yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly.
Because they,
Uh,
yeah, I don't. We'll get to that scene at the end.
Yes, yes, we will. One of the things I wanted to just tack on to Sarah's point around James Gandolfini, one of the scenes that I really love that he brings, just like the physicality of the performance, is in the doctor's office, his conversation with Junior, where Junior reveals to him that he has another uncle. And Tony's face is scrunched immediately when he learns that information. And it stays scrunched as the conversation is like moved along to like they're
Junior's like,
talking
yeah.
about some
And
logistics.
that, I don't know, Jen, if
So
you,
good.
with some of like the elder generations of people who
Yeah.
live different lives, like sometimes they'll just will be a random lore drop that's intense. And they're like, yeah, yeah, well, and let's move on. You're like, excuse me, what did we just say? Like a secret history of our family? Like what?
Yeah. Yeah. I still have moments like that with my father where he'll just like share a tidbit from his childhood around how they used to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how have you never told me that? He was like, it's not that big of a deal. What do you mean? What do you?
Like he's like, there's a whole like I had a whole nother uncle. Like what are you talking about? Which
Yeah.
so we
You
s-
had a brother?
I didn't mention this specifically. There were two. I think also side note, you guys should have like best laugh as like part of a potential feature at the end. But
Oh,
in the
yeah.
doctor scene, we have the second of two great reaction shots. The first one was Artie in the men's room when
Oh,
Tony
yeah.
calls him Alan Alda, and like he looks like Alan Alda in the 70s, but he's just so upset. But Junior's react like I went back and watched it like 3 or 4 times when Tony's processing. He's like, "Oh, like I remember my parents arguing and they brought up like my father's feeble-minded brother and I just thought they were talking about you." Junior
It's so good. Oh my
Oh,
gosh. I rewatched that like multiple times because I just had to
oh,
see it again.
so good. It's so good.
Oh,
And
it's
then when
so
Tony
good.
drops the R word, he's like, "Why don't you go F yourself?" Like
Yeah.
that's the most like serious because Junior is kind of a goober. Like he's got some respect,
Yeah.
but like you never see Junior like getting that uppity. And he's like, "Don't you say that about my brother." And you're like, "The
Uh-huh.
secret brother you've never talked about and you guys put away?" Like, okay, but
I love that they try to like balance out the news with but he was really strong and really attractive and like just this like
well,
giving
and wrote that
overcompensation like
right.
by just
The dialogue he says, and I don't know if it was actually Dominic, whatever I'm dropping his name, the guy who plays Corrado Jr. Um, he's like, if it was now, they would have like taught him something or whatever, got him a job or something. Like he's like, he was handsome, he was strong, he was all this,
yeah.
and it's like, and now they would have like done something with him. Like it's well-meaning, but also very funny and kind of reveals the lack of understanding and sensitivity for some of those issues and
Mhm.
maybe the thinking of people from that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to temper the news by heaping on lots of praise in other areas. Uh okay, we should talk about the executive game. It was man, I think I was like out of breath and my blood pressure was through the roof. That whole sequence, it
So
lasts far longer than I
before
expected.
the executive game, when they talk about it in the doctor's office, I wanted to mention this to tie it back to like the whole America thing.
Yeah.
Junior flat out says like, yeah, me and your dad started this because we're like, credit companies are scamming people. Why can't we? And again, like that is the American capitalist system. He's like, people would rather like rack up debt without any thought and then just pay a small amount in interest and you keep them on the line forever, make a lot of money. People like to gamble after who knows how many hands and
Yeah.
drinks and cigars and the camaraderie and the social pressure to keep going. Maybe if you're losing to redeem yourself, they're like, people get into us for a ton and we'll just keep them on the hook forever. And he's like, yeah, we get that idea from credit card companies. And we all have credit cards. That's still a booming business in America. Like, I just thought like the intellectual like
Yeah.
thesis of this episode, I feel like was kind of that. He's like, we saw the exploitation and we're like, we'd like to get in on that. And
Mhm.
in some ways they're successful. Like,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and that you get the sense too, especially in the way that Tony talks about it with Davy and whatnot, that like there's the sense of getting to rub shoulders or be even part of the game. That is also the like elitism of it. That is also
yeah,
part of the
the executive game.
Right. Yeah.
It's like
The
the
branding,
black
the naming,
card.
all of it. It's you want to be there because you want to be selected to be there and to be in the in crowd and to be part of this small, powerful group of society that gets the privilege to be there. And that's
Davey
part
can
of the
say Frank
allure of it that
Sinatra
they've
Jr.
created.
like laughed at his jokes for the rest of
Yeah.
his life, however long that may be.
Which is also very American and to like create like build this pomp and circumstance around the elitism and to have like everyone buy into that and lose money if needed, but like they got to be there and that was the honor too.
When it's so insidious because for Frank Sinatra Jr., for the doctor, for all these gangsters who have millions of bucks, like they can lose 100 grand and it's like, whatever. Like Sil even says like tens of thousands of that dollars came out of my pocket and they're still like, whatever. But for Davey, that's not nothing.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And the other piece that I love about the game is seeing all of the pieces that work together to make it what the executive game is. So I love, Tony orchestrating everything and that is his responsibility and takes such pride in this game. And then the way that like Christopher is ordering around his little minions and helping everything get set up. So I loved all of those mechanics. The episode does a really good job of showing us how important this game is to everybody, and then we actually get to see what it looks like for them to actually pull this off and do this thing.
Well, because I feel like we see a little bit of like maybe childlike joy, a little bit of Tony, because he's like he's getting the food, he's getting the room. He like sent Furio. Also, I haven't listened to it yet, obviously, because they're not out. Furio, we only got one scene from him. He put that guy in his place, and it was great. But yeah, get in the hotel. I put this in my notes. The
Yeah.
executive games, the juicy part. We got some great Paulie teehees with the cop in the car before when they were basically getting the cops like protection or okay to have it.
Yes.
When he points the gun at the cop, at first, I would love to see the reactions of you guys before knowing what that scene was. What was that like as it unfolded?
Oh man, I that scene takes like every left turn because like the irreverence it's so there's so much dissonance in our minds as we're watching that because we know honestly like there's so much around the cops especially now that it's fear inducing and there's like an immediate deference for because they hold so much power and just to see them joke around and
Not Polly. He points a gun right at him. He's like, I've got a vest. He's like, I wouldn't be shooting at your vest. Like,
oh man.
and then
Oh,
he's like, yeah, how are you doing? How's your family? And then he starts, he's like, what do I care? I got my own problems. Like,
yeah.
like it was so good. I went back and watched those parts again too, just because I love it.
Great choice to have like Polly be the dude to deliver that scene too. It adds so much fun to it than if you put Silvio or whatnot in there or Christopher. Yeah.
But an additional part of the game, you talked about like Chris and his guys. Tony got to be like the big brother
Yep.
because he has Janice and the sister who's like a normie.
Yep.
And he got to kind of like bust their chops a little bit, but also kind of like give them like an introduction to this world. It's like, hey, like put that tray there, give that guy a cigar. But then he's also setting him up. He's like, hey, like go clean up around Sil when he's playing. And
The
uh,
cheese.
I thought I had forgotten. I was like, does this end bloody? Like I don't remember. But Sil just gives him quite the just talking down. But gosh, it's so good.
Which is really fun to see. Like, I mean, it's terrifying, obviously, but
Tony's just
it's
chuckling.
it's so funny too. And I feel like that's a different side of Silvio than we've seen. I feel like for most of it, we've seen Silvio kind of in like business mode, and he's just there, he's doing what he needs to do, handling business, like we got it. But in this one, seeing him erupt like that, I was like, oh, this is a very different side of Silvio than we've seen before. This is terrifying and funny. So Gosh, what a good
The
scene.
cheese. I love cheese at my feet.
I
And
actually
then
wanna
in the
shove it in
next
my
scene, like, "Go get
box.
me more food."
Yeah, go give me some food. And Tony's just like, I set him up for that. But like that kid
Well
also could have been injured or killed.
well, that's the interesting thing that I think that The Sopranos does is it plays with our expectations. I was expecting blood splatters by the end of this executive game,
And I
and
didn't remember, and I watched that like a few months ago. I
right,
was like,
right,
"Oh,
and
is he okay?"
especially after like, there's that scene in Goodfellas where Pesci like, someone makes a joke with Pesci, and spoiler alert, he, like, takes the guy out and, like and severely either, like, kills him or severely injures him just 'cause, like, he made a bad joke and Pesci's offended by it, and so I'm expecting that from Silvio, just, like, "Don't do me wrong," and that unpredictable explosion. I was not expecting to end well for the little guy, but he survives, and I think that's an interesting thing that Sopranos is constantly doing is, like, setting up some tension, and you're waiting for the explosion, and sometimes it comes and sometimes it doesn't come, and you kind of have no idea whether it's gonna be a diffusion of the tension or someone's gonna get smacked or like Cheerios are gonna fly everywhere, and you just never know. And so that's
Yeah, and when they made it
tense,
through the
right?
night, like, Frank Sinatra Jr. each gave them, like, a couple $100 or whatever, and he's like, "Yeah, here's for you, here's for your friend, like, good
And it's
job,
fine.
guys," and they're like, "Oh, like, I have, like, achievement unlocked slightly,"
Yeah.
and Tony got to be the guy to do that for the next generation,
Mhm.
even though it was very fraught. We mentioned it before, we haven't mentioned it yet. While the game starts going, like, there's a knock on the door, and then we see Davy. Obviously, you guys were probably expecting him, but what was that moment like? And I can't wait to see the footage.
I think it was like we like turtled into ourselves and we're like, no, no, no. You just see this this man. I just
And he's
I don't know.
tiptoeing around it. He goes, "Oh, like, how's in the neighborhood? Like, how's the kids?" He's like, "Oh, is that Frank Sinatra Jr.?" And there was some sort of joke. I didn't write that one down, but he's like, "How is yours?" Like, I could see the resemblance or whatever. Like, that made me laugh. But then he's like, "Hey, like, do you think I could take these guys?" And then once again, Tony's like, "No, man, like, don't." And I think a fascinating question that doesn't have a single answer is like, did Tony mean that? Like, did Tony want him
Mhm.
to go away or did he wanna squeeze him dry?
Take
And the
money.
answer is
Yeah.
probably yes. He's
Yeah.
like, "Your kid's at my house a lot. Like, I like you. I like going to your store. I like your kid. My kid likes your kid. But also I do like money,
Mhm.
and you're a mark. You're like, you
Mhm.
literally walked into this. This wasn't even a trap for you, and you walked in."
Mhm.
And I know wanna be sensitive of time because we got the end and all that, but, Richie comes into the game and sees him there. What was that like for you guys?
Man, Richie is, I think, the most terrifying character so far for
I
me.
love it.
He doesn't even need to say anything,
I love
just
it.
the way that he looks at you. Like, when those moments when he's just staring into the camera, I'm like, "Oh my god, I
When
need
he
to go
says, like,
run
"How did
away."
you get here?" Like,
It's
my heart
terrifying.
stops.
And so I think
Mhm.
that it comes at such a good point in time too, because like they're playing, everything seems to be fine. We know it's not going to end well. And then Richie shows up, the entire dynamic absolutely
And
changes.
nobody knows it except Davy
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
and
it's
us, the
so good.
audience.
The
'Cause
tension
Tony's
that
like, "Yeah, he
builds.
got here the same way
Ugh,
you did, the front door. Ha, ha, ha." Like, and Davy does not like,
nope.
that being taken lightly. Or,
Yeah.
Richie does not like that being taken lightly. And Davy's also such, like, a dumb sweetie pie because he's like, "I'm not trying to insult anybody."
Ugh,
Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I think an interesting, like, just, like, plot construction for the episode is that these 2 parallel threads have now fully intertwined by the end of the episode and are creating greater stakes for 2 characters that are kind of on the poles of, the game board. So, like, Davy doesn't realize that, 1, he's in trouble with both sides 'cause he owes both of them money, but
I would
2
not wanna owe Richie money, but I
no,
really would not
neither
wanna owe
of
Tony money.
them.
Actually, both of those, Richie would be terrifying, but
But
yeah.
that's
also
like
Neither.
7K.
Yeah.
Tony, at
Davy
the end,
Davy
that
is a
number gets up
source
there.
of, a disrespect. Once again, a second moment of disrespect between Richie and Tony that they both perceive they've been slighted by.
Well, and he
So
does it in front of everybody. Richie in a sense of the code, rightfully is like, why is this guy here? He owes
Yeah.
me. He shouldn't be playing here. Tony didn't know that. But now Tony can't say that he was wrong because of the system. Richie goes after Davey. Tony grabs him and in front of everybody says, don't make me embarrass you. Ugh. He picks him up and says, don't make me embarrass you. Tensions were crazy with Richie in his first episode on the scene. This is his fourth.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I know. The showdown is continuing to build more stakes, more hype, more ill will between the two of them.
Well, in the
Well,
mob stuff, like after the game, he's like, I'm the guy in charge. How would it look like if he paid you back first? And like Richie can't argue with that, but do we think he's gonna like that very much?
No.
And he's
Not
got
that ego.
Livia and Janice in his ear every night, and
Mhm.
he gets the $50,000 thing. How about that?
Ooh, Janice. I love
Oh,
to see it. She's
A
stirring.
mailman
She
makes
is.
more than that, she says. Ooh.
Gosh.
It's so
I'm
good.
so here for Janice.
She's like, in the 70s, they gave $50K when you got out of prison. You got like a mailman's salary, less than one.
Oh, man. It's
Oh.
so good. It's so much fun to watch her, like, be able to push people's buttons, and I think, at least for me, realizing just how good at it she is. Like, Janice has a good read, I think, not only on the system, but the people within the system too, and so she is just, man, working every angle that she can, and honestly, I respect the hustle. Go off, queen.
She
Do what you
learned at
gotta
the
do.
feet of the master manipulator.
I was
She
gonna say,
sure did.
wonder where she got that from, From the
And then she's
gal
like,
sleeping in the back.
yeah, and then she's like, yeah, let's go to the funeral in Meadows recital. Like, hey, Tony, how's it going? Like,
Yeah.
after she's like, oh, it's so good.
It's so good. It's so good. Okay, let's talk about this ending before we give out some TVNS awards. So we're at cabaret night, and we see Meadow have to deal with the effects of being
How about the
daughter.
car?
Yeah, to have to deal with the whole repercussions of like her father's dealings with Eric. Thoughts about the way this episode ends?
Well, what I know we don't have a lot. What did you guys think when she got in the car and it's like, this is my friend's car, isn't it? And then you have a Meadow moment, a Carmela moment, and a Tony moment of just like moments of truth. Meadow's like, I can't believe this. This is disgusting. And Carmela is like, this will be inconvenient. She's like, oh God, Tony. Like, and then he's like, this is what it is. A man made a wager, lost. This is the way the world works, period. You like your house, you like your clothes, you like your fancy stuff. This is what pays for it. Deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which
then
feels-
when her friend at the thing is like, F you and your gangster father, she had like, that kind of pushes her more towards Tony again.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
What
Mm-hmm.
I love about that is like we see how like Tony's career, his choices can have a negative impact on Meadow and her friends and how she goes about the world. But we also learn that because of all of that, Meadow gets exactly what she wanted, which is to sing the solo instead of having to sing a duet. And so I love that little piece of it too, that it's not just Meadow being like, oh my gosh, this happened to my friend and now I have this really big conflict. It's this happened and I got exactly what I want. So there is a benefit to this, even if it hurts me relationally. And I think that that's a really interesting, complicating factor in all of this.
And Carmela verbalizes it with, oh, what a nice series of circumstances or whatever she says at the end. Like Meadow rightfully says, like, I'm not my dad. I can't control my dad. Like your dad's not doing great either, clearly. But then he storms off in the big picture of this specific, like the goal of this thing, she wins because she gets to do the the song from Titanic, which was hilarious. And then Carmela's like, oh, isn't that nice? Like she gets to do a solo.
Cracked me up. She's like, oh, she got her big break. I wonder what happened. Hello. I think Carmela plays dumb a lot just for survival and yeah. Well,
She kind of has to in a way.
Yeah. It's the only way she can survive this world. Okay, let's give out some TV and us awards, shall we? So the first category is most family oriented. What are your choices for these? Philip, go ahead and share yours.
He's not in the show enough. We say his like spirit and presence looms over the show. I'm gonna say Johnny Soprano, looking out for his older brother who had some issues, and apparently Livia as well, secretly.
Yep. Yep. Great choice. Great choice. Sarah, what's yours?
My pick is Carmela for threatening to kill Tony if he makes a scene at the funeral.
Nice.
That was so good.
My choice is Livia for showing up to all of the family events, the funeral, cabaret night at school. Such a great grandmother, showing up for all the things. Most explosive moment. What are your choices for this category? Philip, go
I
ahead.
feel like there's going to be a lot of overlap. I'll go with Sal because we haven't seen it yet, and it was hysterical. Just I like cheese on my feet. And then he says a bunch of vulgar, terrible things, and then he's like, "Go get me some food."
So
So it's
good.
like the best kind of blow up. It was hilarious. It was dangerous, but nobody died or got like severely injured.
Yeah, exactly how we like our blow-ups. It's good. Sarah, what's your choice?
I want to pick Tony showing up to collect from Davy because he was supposedly out when somebody else came to collect.
He said he had a doctor appointment.
Come
He
on.
got into Tony Soprano for like 40, 50 grand and then is like, sorry, I can't pay you. I got to go to the doctor. He did that for real.
This man. So
And
dumb.
Tony's like, I got like, and again, like the physical presence of James Gandolfini
Oh,
standing
it's
over that
so
tiny
good.
man, even though he was the T-1000. Like I always think of that when I see Robert Patrick from Terminator 2, but like
Yeah.
he's pretty pathetic in this.
Yeah.
And the way
So
that's shot too just makes
He's like,
Tony look
he's over
just,
him.
giant. Oh, it's terrifying.
So good. My choice for this one is for it being cognitively explosive in my brain because I just love getting to see it. But it's Janice stirring the pot with Richie while Olivia pretends to sleep. We knew that she was manipulative, but to see it play out, can't wait to see what else Janice has up her
She
sleeve.
put I'm sure some of it was the editing. She put so much sauce on. That's less than a mailman. Like, the
Yes.
line delivery is crazy.
And you just see Richie's like wide-eyed ears open to hear
Because he
everything.
was in the position of having to defend Tony. He goes, he's the skipper. He did front me some money so that, and then Janice kicks
Yeah.
his legs out from under him. And then he's like, oh. And we know how good Richie is at taking care of his temper.
Not very good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be juicy. Double meaning dialogue. What are your choices for this one?
I'll say what I said earlier when the second time Tony says to Davy, this isn't a game for you. Like, it's true, but it's also like a temptation. Like, it's also, hey, this isn't for you. You want it? Like, this is America.
Oh, great choice. Sarah, double meaning dialogue.
Okay, I want to pick the scene when Davy comes to Artie and is asking for money. And I would like to give this award specifically to Artie's sigh when Davy tells him that it's Tony Soprano that he owes money to. I feel like that sigh from Artie is like paragraphs of just like, oh no, what have you done?
They're
in their 30s and 40s. He knows, he doesn't know all the details, but he knows what Tony's capable of and ostensibly has seen other people go down this path.
Yep. There's a lot communicated in that one little sigh. Woo.
Especially because you get the sense that up until that point in the conversation, he's like trying to be a good friend and like think about ways to help. And immediately the name drop of Tony Soprano, he's like, I'm sorry, I'm out. I can't.
He
sorry.
nopes out of there so quick.
Yeah, he's like, man, I just spent some money on my restaurant and Tony
the
Soprano.
Roof.
Oof.
Nope. Oh, sorry, buddy.
Sorry, man.
You're on your own.
You made your bed.
Usually double meaning dialogue is intentionally double meaning, but I'm going to pick one that I think was kind of unintentional because it was just a state of shock. This is Tony to Junior. I always thought Livia was talking about you whenever she mentioned a feeble-minded brother in Tony's childhood.
So it isn't.
It's my favorite moment.
So
It's
good.
so good.
That's the best moment of the episode, I think.
Oh my gosh, Junior's reaction is perfect.
So
Especially
good.
because usually Tony's trying to hit you with a diss, but I think that moment he's genuinely just like, "Oh wait, oh man, that's not you," But it's still insulting either way.
And there's a second, I wish I would have written that line down. There was a second therapy scene after Tony learns that.
Mhm.
He's like, I just found out I have a retarded uncle. And she says something. Oh, that's just a joke. She says, like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
like, was it a problem that, like, was it a serious problem? It's like, no, like, he was cracking everybody up or something like that. And they said, was he serious?
So
I
bad.
was like, ooh.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, looking ahead, Sarah, what are you excited to see next? And Philip, what are you excited for us to see next, I suppose? Would you like to somehow figure out how to be intentionally cryptic again, Philip?
Yeah, you did a great job last time,
Yeah, that's
so
very good.
I'm sure you're gonna kill it this time. But I'm looking forward to more Livia, of course. She's great. Janice really stirring the pot with Richie, because we've seen a confrontation between Tony and Richie about the house. We've seen a confrontation with them about the card game.
Mhm.
We still haven't seen the confrontation between them about Beansy and what Richie did however many episodes ago that was. So we've seen these two having some conflict, but there's more to come. So I'm nervous and excited to see whatever that will shape up to be. And then we didn't see Salvatore in this episode at all. And so I think that is interesting, and I'm
Who?
curious.
Pussy.
Salvatore, Pussy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was mentioned. I
Mhm.
love that character, and this season has a lot of, like, crazy juicy stuff in it.
Yeah.
And because they mention him. Yeah, he wasn't in this one.
So when is he going to show back up again? And then we're just always looking out for the rise of Carmela. So when are we going to have a more Carmela heavy episode? We don't know.
Philip.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go first, and I was gonna go at
Okay,
the
I'll
end.
go. I can go, yes. I am pre-mourning in advance the Christopher story arc. I just feel like it's not going to end well, and I'm really I'm doing what Roman Roy says from Succession. Just I'm pre-mourning the thing that's going to happen. Yeah, I'm intrigued to see Janice continue to stir the pot. I think it's just that it's interesting to see the way that the women in this world have a lot more influence than they think that they have, than the men think that they have. So I'm fascinated to see the way that she's going to be in everyone's ear. What is Livia scheming is like the constant question. I don't know if we'll ever figure it out, but I'm fascinated to see. And then, yeah, I would love to see a Richie Junior, like, really well constructed scheme, like something that really
To form an
can,
alliance.
yeah, something that, and like they clearly are trying to work together from like the previous episodes, but like something that really could give Tony something to sink his teeth into and somehow to have to like take down. So I'd love to see a valiant attempt to take the throne and ultimately have them fail.
I will say, I was going to say one thing, but I'll say two because you reminded me because we didn't have Puss in this episode. I will say, he's not my favorite character, and like in a lot of ways, he doesn't have some of the redemptive qualities that we like in most of our crew, but I really like as the character in the tie to the old country, just Furio and what's ahead
Yeah.
of him, and then the Janice and Richie relationship and where that goes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Two great clues. I
Can't wait
love
to
it.
listen as I particularly like as I watch the show, I love seeing Furio, but as a listener and an occasional contributor, I can't wait to just see you guys react to Janice and Richie.
Okay, great. Because those two are conniving and they seem to find camaraderie in that together too. And many different levels. Okay, well, this was our review and discussion of season 2, episode 6, particularly juicy, tense, blood curdling episode for sure in many ways with the tension in this episode. You can find this available to stream on HBO Max. Thank you for listening to today's episode of TV and Us. And a big thank you to you, Philip, for joining us, chatting about The Sopranos. It's always so fun. Where can people find more of you and follow your work, your podcast, all of your guesting appearances, your projects on the interwebs?
You can follow the show, The Substance, on all the major platforms, and The Substance Pod on the social medias we're on, primarily Instagram. Hopefully by the time you're hearing this, I will have gotten into a better posting rhythm, as life is crazy. And then I'm just Philip Marinello for my other things. A lot of guesting, producing some movies, some cool stuff. At this point, maybe there's going to be a movie on VOD. I'll talk to Jen and Sarah about that in the show notes if it's out by this time.
Love it. Love it. We'll include all of that. Yeah. Links to where to follow more of Philip and connect more with him in the show notes. So our name, TV and Us, sums it up. We're big fans of TV and the powerful ways we can connect with each other and the world around us. This podcast is about all of us and our shared stories. So everyone is welcome here, and we're so glad you spent time with us today as we continue our journey through The Sopranos Season 2. It has been very fun. You can subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you tune to your favorite shows. Drop us a rating and review, letting us know your favorite tense moment from this episode. You can connect with us on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at tvnspod, or email us at tvnspod@gmail.com. Check out our website, andusmedia.co, for the latest on TV and Us and our other podcast, Movies and Us. We are part of the Movie Archer podcast network, so you can check out more at moviearcher.com to learn more. We'll be back soon to continue to find out what happens with our crew with episode 7. So we hope you have an amazing week, and we'll talk again with y'all very soon.